السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Inshallah, in this video I'll be sharing with you two of the most rare pieces that we have in our collection. And I'll start off with those two small pieces that you can see in front of you. Now, these two pieces, they are from the Hujarah and Nabawi in Medina. They are part of the Kiswa of the Prophet's chamber, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In terms of the history of the blessed chamber, what we know is that the Kiswa was, in terms of the Saudi era, the Kiswa that was used, meaning these two pieces, they were inside the Hujarah for around 75 years. The first time they were removed in this generation was in 1971. So that's the first time in the Saudi period the Kiswa was changed. So these two pieces were used in the Hujarah for 75 years. They were removed and then they were replaced in 1971. And since 1971, the Kiswa that's in the Hujarah at the moment, which at the moment is 2023, the same piece has been used. So that's approximately 52 years, 1971 to 2023. Okay, it's about approximately 52 years the Kiswa has been sat in the Hujarah. Now, between 1971 and now, there was one time when the Kiswa was taken out, it was repaired, and it was replaced, and it was put back in. Okay, and this is we're talking about the Saudi period here. Okay. Now, the two pieces, the one that was used for 75 years and the one that was replaced thereafter, we have both, and we'll be sharing with you, inshallah, a brief overview of both. So we'll start off with this one over here. Now, the Kiswa of the Hujarah is very rare, number one. Number two, there are many being sold online. And in terms of the ones that are being sold online, I would say majority of them, they are replica. And there are certain ways to tell and to check. The first thing is, the most important clue, the most difficult to replicate, is the edging. If you have a look at the edging on here, you can see the edges. I mean, if I was to ask you a rhetorical question, does that look like a clean finish on the end? It doesn't. This is known as looped edging, and this is done by hand-operated machine. In Arabic they call it knoll. And the Kiswa of the Al-Hujarah Nabawiyya was made using hand-operated machinery, like the one of the internal Kiswa of the Kaaba. You can see we have a video of that as well. So something like this, it's not going to be done by machine. You can ask yourself now, 21st century, a machine is not going to produce a finish like that. This is made by hand. Okay, this is the most difficult thing to replicate. All the Kiswa that are in the market at the moment, you will not find one with finishing like that. Okay, not possible. The second thing is, the color is a very distinct medium green. Number three, the background is green. The writing is white mainly, with green in between. Okay, these are the signs of the original Kiswa. I think we got to number three there. Number four, You see how the background here is green? If you were to turn it over, the background is mainly white on the back, opposite. Mainly white, with the green in between. But have a look at this. The writing is white, mainly white, with green in there. If you turn it over, it's solid green. Okay, this is the weaving style. This is the weaving style. When you have a look at replicas online, we did have one replica which a brother gave to us. Unfortunately, can't locate it at the moment, but if you were to ask the person whom you're buying the Kiswa from, can you show me the original piece? If you buy a small piece like this, you're not going to be able to tell. There's just not enough evidence there. But if you say to them, can you show me the original where you cut the piece from, and say, can you show me the edges? Look at the edging. Can you show me a big piece where I can see the background? There's the background. There is the writing. Flip it over. You should be able to see mainly white, solid green. I can tell you there might be replicas out there that would have replicated the background here and the colouring, but there is no replica that's going to copy that. I can assure you. Find me a Kiswa with that sort of finish, you're not going to find it. These are the signs and the features of an original Kiswa. Like I said, this was used for 75 years. Okay, in the Hujarah. It was used 75 years in the Hujarah. And it was changed 1971. Now, if you've seen our collection, alhamdulillah, you'll know that we have quite a number of pieces. But if you look at these two pieces here, these are, when we actually acquired these two, you can see the size of the piece. When we acquired these two pieces, there were 3 that we purchased. We bought 3 of these. One we've given to a dear friend, and we have 2 remaining. These 2, they are not going to be for sale because you can see the size. They are quite small. Okay, so this is the first edition of the Kiswa of the Hujarah. Now, in terms of the second edition, so like I said, you've got the small pieces. They were removed 1971, and from what we know, in 1971 they replaced it with this piece. Now, if we do a comparison in terms of colour, just over here, if I was to cover that up, this is obviously used. It's going to probably have some sort of fading. In fact, it's probably better if we do it like that because the weaving is differently. So you can do a slight comparison. Try and get a focus there. You can see very, very similar in terms of colour. Very similar. There is going to be, I don't expect it to be the same colour because this is used, this is not used. There's a difference. Used, not used. Different batches. So there will be a slight colour variation. Okay, even if you were to go, there are some places they can do matching dye colours. It's going to be a close match, not an identical match. Why? You cannot match an identical colour that has been used that has fading. It's not possible. Not possible whatsoever. Anyway, like I said, this is a used piece. The one behind the larger piece is not used. Now this piece is very, very rare. Probably even more rare than the one that we showed you initially. And the reason for it is because this is an unused piece. What we would call an offcut. Okay, an unused piece. Now in the video it's coming up quite dark. It's actually quite light. It must just be the focus of the camera. Now, like I said, this piece is very, very rare. This is the second edition. This was put in 1971 and it's being used at the moment. Okay, if you look at pages online of the Hujarah, you'll be able to see this same design. Now, this piece, in terms of the history, like I said, the previous one, the smaller pieces, they were acquired from a collector in Arabia, and this particular piece was acquired from a worker in the Kiswa factory. Okay, and we have pictures of that individual operating the machines. His name is Haj Marwan, rahimahullah, and he was gifted this piece upon his retirement. Now, this piece you can see has been cut. The rest of it is with the third owner. So we have a clear chain. So this was gifted to Haj Marwan. It was then passed on to his daughter-in-law, and then it was purchased by brother Mustafa in Australia, and then he cut this piece into two, and we purchased the top section from him, and he has kept the bottom section. So this is the history from number one, gifted upon retirement to a Kiswa factory worker, gifted to his daughter-in-law, passed on to his daughter-in-law, purchased by a brother, and then passed on to us. So we have a clear chain. Now, in terms of this piece, the white and the green, they have been checked and they are silk. This piece here, we have checked the white and the green, and it is pure silk. Okay, so the Kiswa, they tend to be generally are made from silk. Majority of them are silk. You may come across some Kiswa with exception, maybe silk and cotton. But in terms of this particular design, the green and the white is silk. So in terms of other features of how to check, now again, someone may say this is actually not the first edition, we have the second edition. You can see the colouring, solid green background, and the writing is white with green in there. If you flip the Kiswa over, mainly white background with green, but the writing is solid green. This piece, because we have the full piece, we can share the information accurately with you. The size of the Kiswa from one end to another is just approximately 49 to 50 centimeters approximately. The finishing on the edges, if you have a look. Okay, this is, like I said, it was made around around the 1970s. Around, and the reason why I say around is because it was put in 1971, so it must have been made in that year or before. If you look at the finishing, it's not perfect finishing on the end. Most likely this has been made from normal machinery. What we know about this Kiswa is the edging, unique edging. If you look at the edging, it's very unique. Many of the other Kiswa, the replicas, they will not have the edging like this. So ask for a picture of the edging, ask for a video. Because you know what some people do is they will screenshot the video, they will send our video to you and they'll say, this is the piece, okay? So this is obviously not for sale. This piece is not for sale. We are not selling this, and do check whoever you're buying from. Ask them for a video, maybe 1 or 2 videos, so you can check their voice is the same in both. Don't let them send you videos without a voice, because they could just be copying someone else's. So always check for this. But in terms of the size, it's approximately width is about 50, just under 50 centimeters. This is the unique edging you have on this Kiswa. Okay. So these are 2 pieces of the Kiswa al-Hujarah Nabawiya, both made from silk. This is edition number 1, the 2 small pieces. The third piece that we gifted to brother Mustafa in Australia, who alhamdulillah gave us the opportunity to own a piece of the second edition. We have the first edition, looped edging used, second edition is not used. It was gifted to one of the Kiswa factory workers, and alhamdulillah we have a possession of both. Jazakallahu khairan for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.